Welcome back to Whiskey and Windage, the 2A podcast for the people, by the people. I'm your host, Adam, joined with my co-hosts, Mike and Matt. Mike, how are we doing today?
Man, doing good. Actually, I'm really lying. Not doing good at all. We've had some malfunctions. We've had some technical difficulties. I don't know, Matt. Why don't you tell them about it?
You're not going to talk?
For real?
For real, dude?
Anyway.
Well, guys, we have to get the elephant out of the room and just let everyone know what happened.
Yeah.
And,
So what had happened was we were all sitting there recording the podcast, did a GOA podcast last night. Everything was great. Take Matt to the airport, come back here to start editing it to get it out for Wednesday. We realized that Matt messed our video up. I don't know how, but we're blaming him because he's not here. So
it's messed up.
His fault. What do you have to say for yourself? Yeah, that's what we thought. Honestly, audio's perfect. Video was there. It just wasn't. It was really grainy, and it wasn't working how we wanted. So instead of putting out a subpar product, we're deciding to just keep the thumbnail up, and we're going to run the audio. Sorry for those of you that like watching the video. We'll get you back next week, we promise. But we really wanted to get this out because all three of us were together, and it was all good. So
yeah, it's a great show still. I mean, I think a lot of people, they love looking at our pretty faces, but I think a lot of people do listen anyway. So
yeah. Well, Matt, get us going. Let's freaking go.
Let's go, dude.
It's the 2A podcast for the people, by the people. I'm Matt. I'm joined by my brothers Mike and Adam. How we doing today, boys?
I'm actually struggling.
I think we're all struggling. That was all my energy. That was all of it.
Thanks for showing up. No, yeah, man, I'm doing good. We just got back from the Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership
GOA Summit.
Yep. GOA Summit.
Goals
from Knoxville. Woke up this morning, made our rounds, said our goodbyes, shook babies, kiss hands, and jumped in the car and headed out.
I mean, that's kind of how it literally through that door about 15 minutes ago.
Truck's still hot.
Yeah, truck's still hot. Mike had to drive in, so I know you're asleep because you had to drive. It was a 3-hour drive, just monotonous driving. Tennessee's beautiful, but it's kind of boring, like on the highway.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Tree,
hill.
Tree. No, it's one hill. You just see it. You keep driving up and down it. It's only one.
Well, I mean, we've been going hard since Wednesday, boys. We flew in. Nobody's had any sleep. Like, great time, though. Great time. A lot of great people. Yeah, had a lot of fun, but it's about nap time.
Yeah, so no, it's not nap time. We're going to talk about the GOA Summit. So this is exciting. This was a great one. This is the first time GOA's hosted this. It was awesome. Knoxville Convention Center. But let's start from the beginning. So let's go back to when we left. So we're here. We got up really early. Everyone's packed. We're all prepared. You had anxiety.
Find some stickers.
Mike spent like we were like running a half an hour behind because we couldn't find Mike's stickers.
Ran out of gas in the truck. I left it running so long looking for freaking stickers. But yeah, we didn't find them. But we made it.
But luckily, yeah, we made it there. So we started driving there. We made it there. Traffic was kind of crazy when we got there. We couldn't find parking. And then
shout out to the Marriott. They wouldn't let us check in. Well, hold on. Partial shout out to the Marriott because we couldn't check in until I think 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but we got there early and we didn't want to pay for parking and we couldn't find it. So they let us park there. That was quite awesome. Yeah. So
one piece of criticism on the Marriott though, like if there's conventions and things going on in town, you got people partying, having a good time, and you can't even get a freaking bottle of water in your room. They want you to drink that nasty tap water, dude. You go downstairs and the water bottles are like $6 or something crazy.
I took care of you.
Adam did get me one morning. He was like, Maddie needs water, and he came right back.
Maddie needed a lot of water.
I did. Look, I'm a big boy, dude.
Matt needs a lot of water right now.
A 20-ounce bottle of water ain't gonna do it for me after a night out on the town. So Marriott, like with the cost of that room, dude, put a couple bottles of water in there, please.
Yeah. But yeah, so we dropped our stuff off, got in, went straight across the street to the convention center.
Gorgeous convention center.
Yeah, walked through the door.
Knoxville.
We had already, walked straight up to the media side, got our badges. They had them ready for us. Super easy check-in for us. Loved that. Turned the corner, walked through the main walkway, and we were greeted by the deputy state director. I forget Lee's name.
I don't remember her whole title.
Lee Gibson, man, she's awesome.
Cool lady.
She's down in Texas. She runs GOA Texas. Super cool lady, always down to help. Definitely, if you don't know her and you're in the area, you should get to know her or go follow her. Yeah. It's GOA Texas, I think. I don't know.
GOA Texas.
Yeah, so we kind of get in there and then we get to go downstairs.
That was fun. And she, like I said, she was super welcoming. We go downstairs. We walk right in, and the first people we meet, Mantis.
Right at the front door, dude.
They had the best. Booth. I don't know how they got that. If it was luck.
That's the best spot. All right.
Yeah. You know what, though? Honestly, good call on them. Yeah, they were super welcoming. Everyone there was awesome. Very friendly. We got to talk to them about some stuff. We're trying to get them on podcast hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
Yeah. So they were awesome, super welcoming, very great staff, knowledgeable. So I fell in love with their product a little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna promote them all right now, but I did fall in love with the product.
Yeah, in about 10 seconds, I realized I really do suck at shooting a handgun. So
it took you now to realize that.
Yeah.
All right, pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, I know. I never claimed to have a
So you got a lot of room.
Bro, I'm good at filters and editing fucking folder. I never said I was good at anything else.
So before we go any further on what actually happened, I want to paint a picture for you. A couple months ago, graciously visited by John Farner. He came on the podcast. We did the whole GOA promotion podcast. Had really good traction on Spotify, Amazon, all of that. YouTube just really did not like it for some reason. Not sure. Sorry. Apologies. But we signed up because it was in the home state, my home state. I wanted to go. It gave the boys an excuse to kind of come in there and hang out with me, kind of see my place, do some shooting, film some content, all that. But when we started hearing things that he was saying, it was like, yeah, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, we're expecting, over 10,000. Oh, we're expecting this. And you're I don't know, dude. First year show. Are you serious? Like,
yeah.
So again, I understand what GOA is. I understand what GOA is capable of. But any first year show that says they're going to do something, and you actually go on record to say it, people are going to sit back and say, wait a minute. Are you sure? You think you can do that? So I just wanted to say that before we go any further, because I don't know the attendance. I didn't sit there and count everybody coming in with the little clicker and all that, but I can say that I think they hit it out of the park.
Dude, first year show, like I was surprised. They seemed like veterans from media check-in, having a little media room where we could all sit down and have a cup of coffee and get away from all the folks. Having a media day, like it all seemed really well planned out. And for a first year show, I think it was amazing. And again, I didn't count everybody either, but like it was popping in there yesterday, Saturday for the public. There was a lot of folks. There and like I had a great time.
Let's get back to Friday though, because Friday's media day, right? So media
back it up.
Yeah.
We did not attend Thursday.
No, so we weren't there. That's the thing too. They had a range day. So of course they had a range day.
Yeah.
We weren't there. We did our own range day here because you have an amazing range.
Thank you.
And you're an SOT. So we did our full auto, which there were some pretty cool reels that showcase that. And there's some more footage coming, I believe.
Yeah, there'll be some more, but it was more of honestly, we took the time to show you the city, had to go out.
Yeah, we had to see Nashville a bit.
And then, make our game plan on how we're going to attack this. Because if you go to a show as media, as a YouTuber, as a personality, as an entity, and you don't have a game plan from experience of previous shows, you're going to screw it up and you're going to leave yourself wanting more when you leave. Man, I should have done this. Man, I should have done that. We wrote down what we wanted. We said, let's go in there, handle business, and then have fun. And that's exactly what we did. So go ahead.
So then Friday, right? We wake up super early. We already talked about it. Mike was panic attacking. Couldn't find some stickers. I could care. I wasn't going to ruin your mojo, but I could give 2 Fs about some stickers at that point. Let's just go.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to you were focused.
It was the stickers I wanted to bring and give out. So
I know.
It was like, those are the ones I want.
Yeah. I respected it. I did it. Because you put the hard work in to get them made. So I respect it.
At the end of the day, though, abandon ship. Let's go.
But we still got there on time. The thing is, we got there right on time still.
We thought we were late.
But we weren't.
Yeah.
We got down there. And the really cool part of Media Day was, and I hope SHOT Show, I hope other shows do that, is having that Media Day where it's just, we can talk to the manufacturers, we can talk to the other content creators. We were able to make some really cool connections because it wasn't really crazy, really hectic. You could film things and it wasn't a million people walking in front of your camera, but it was still fun. It was a lot of fun. So I appreciated that day a lot. And I hope that other shows learn from that.
Yeah. Something cool we found out once we went to the Marriott was, I guess things I wish I knew for Media Day that I know now. We found out really quickly Friday night that the Marriott had a great restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a lot of options, but everything was good and it was very affordable. So once we found that out, we ate at the event for Friday's lunch. Food was good.
It's convention food. It's
convention center food. It's stadium food. Food was good. I mean, it did what I needed it to do. I needed to fill my belly. I was good. But we found out there were better options, and it was like, all right, that's where we're going from here on out. But shout out to them. They had snacks, they had drinks, they had sodas, energy drinks, fruit drinks, you name it. So that was a really convenient thing to have.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. And I just love the fact that we were able to talk to certain people that we've connected with either on shows prior or we've wanted to work with, and we got to talk to them personally. Big one was 2A Bourbon. They were there, and they've been a great sponsor, not sponsor, but supporter. Yeah, supporter of us since then.
Friend of the show.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that was cool. We got to connect with them and some other vendors. So I appreciate that day. I think Friday was a great day for us just to meet people. And then we met a lot of content creators that day.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, as soon as we walked through the door, we ended up making our way through, passing Manus, going to look at everybody, had to say what's up to some of our buddies at some booths. And we ended up at 2A Bourbon. We're speaking to them, and then we look over, and it's like, well, here comes Clint Morgan. Heck yeah.
I turned around, Clint's there. I don't know where he came from.
I saw him. He was walking from the concessions towards 2A Bourbons. He wasn't coming there, but he was walking. And I was like, hey,
bud.
Hey, bud. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what.
Yeah,
hey, bud.
There's the homie. Let's go. So I went over there and greeted him, talked to him for a minute. You guys walked up, got to see him. We got to see Caleb Savant, not in the not how we wanted it to go down. I mean, we were hoping for on the stage spotlights. Looking at the hair, Matt versus Caleb.
I challenged him to a hair contest, but I think at our meeting point, neither Caleb nor myself's hair was on point. And
I think if I had to rate them both, I think that I have no idea what I'm saying here, so I'm just going to say it. I think that the humidity caused an issue with your do, and with Caleb, I think that he was busy and putting it all together, and he probably got a little early start, so he didn't get to do everything he wanted to do, or he'd been at it long. So, I'm going to rule this a no contest. I think if this was boxing, hey, no decision, split decision, no contest. Neither one. I think we need to have.
Caleb, I challenge you to a rematch.
I don't know. With a guy with no hair, I call all I hear is excuses. So I hear excuses from both of you. I was there. In the moment, if I had to judge, just judge.
That's Caleb.
Caleb won.
Yeah, it's
Caleb. But we can do a rematch.
I want to be real with the people though. We were going hard, and we were up pretty late Thursday night. I did my hair on Thursday. I rode all the way into town with last night's hair, and I just rocked it. I just went in with last night's hair. But yeah, Caleb, I challenge you to a rematch. We'll be back, bro.
Awesome. So that was Friday. Friday was great, and we met some really good content creators and just made some connections. So, to wrap up Friday, what was another good takeaway you thought, Mike, that the creators, the media day, that was beneficial?
So, couple things. Matt talked about the media room. There's typically a media room. We didn't see the media room until Friday afternoon. So we could have used that a little more, but that's nobody's fault. That's our fault.
Yeah.
I liked the outdoor area. There was a cigar bar.
Yeah, cigar lounge.
Yeah.
FRCC.
Yeah. So that was a nice touch. Chairs. For the first year, I think it was amazing. Do I think that there's room for improvement? There's room for improvement in everything.
Yeah.
But would I change anything given everything that happened this weekend? Would I change how that went? No, absolutely not. Awesome.
No.
Awesome. I loved that. I loved the
Matt, just open it. It's okay.
Cold
just
one's
hey, by the way, just open it, Matt. Just go for it. There we go. You made him. You looked really awkward doing that with both hands under the table. So, yeah. Handshake.
So I think, given all that was done with the cigar bar in the first year, I think I wouldn't do anything different. I think it was great.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked that was most important and what this whole summit was about were the panels.
Yes.
Yeah.
The panels. Having the ability to, we made it a point like, hey, even though we're media, even though we know quite a few of these people, and even though we're there to meet the others, we're no different when it comes to gun advocacy and gun rights and further education and hearing points of view. We're no different than anybody else. So to go in there and sit down and hear some of those panels and hear those perspectives, it either, I guess, renews or it renews some of the beliefs and the morals you have, or it opens your eyes to the same view but a different perspective. And in other cases, they can make you question whether, are you looking at this I don't want to say the correct way, because I don't want to say that their way's right, your way's wrong, but are you giving it the research, and are you giving it the thought that you should be putting into this? And could you potentially be wrong?
Yeah.
Change your mind. And there were some things out there that that made me question some of the things that I think. And I'll keep pondering those and end up making a decision. But yeah, I think they were great. What'd you think?
Definitely. And you're right about that, though. Made you really think, like, am I being the best gun owner? Am I being the best advocate for the 2A? Like, not everybody's got to hop on a camera and be this big influencer, or not everybody's got to start a podcast or do all these really huge things. But it, like, one of the folks had said, if you're wearing a shirt that says, "This is my killing shirt," like, are you also wearing a smile? Yeah. Like, are you being welcoming? Like, yeah, I know this person, they've got 1 million guns and they're absolutely the nicest person I've ever met. It's like, build a community that's welcoming to people who may not know about it. And I think GOA did a great job of that at this event. The media day was really cool. Like, the media loves to also see the public, but there is some benefit to being able to get in and speak to the vendors, all the manufacturers there, without having to fight the crowd so much. And so that was really cool to me. And I think my favorite thing was walking in, and a bunch of people we've met digitally. We got to shake their hands in real life.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Really cool.
So, Matt, you said something I want to go back on. So you said gun owner and advocate. I think that in our community, there's plenty of responsible gun owners. I think there's people that are knowledgeable gun owners. I think there's people that do all of those things great. But what we don't do is the advocate side. It's two things. I can be responsible.
Doesn't matter till it happens to you.
Right. You can be responsible gun owner. You can be all that stuff. But when you talk about being 2A, are you an advocate for 2A? Do you listen to other points of view? And there was another gentleman that talked, Mr. Simon.
Yeah. Simon says train.
Simon, he says something about like, so like you take someone that maybe voted the other way, but you bring them to a class, you teach them, well, you're going to change your vote now? Like, is that your first question? And that's always our first question. Are you going to start doing this? Like, stop that. Like, look, you just got this person comfortable shooting a firearm. You brought them in, and now you're going to ridicule them for, well, you're going to change your vote. You're literally bullying them.
Well, you got to turn that page.
Yeah.
I mean, look right here. What do you see right behind us? You see Old Glory. What are we talking about? We're talking about guns. So watching this, you've already presumed what political side we're on. And while you may be exactly right, the other side has already made that assumption about us, and they're being told how bad we are, just as bad as we're being told how bad they are, or how unaccepting or how uncooperative, or whatever you want to say. So if they're getting off their ass and coming to a range to shoot with people they think are not like them and are, complete different side of the aisle, they've made the first step.
Right.
They took the first step. You're not being the bigger person. Yeah. They're already the bigger person.
Exactly.
So what you do is going to either reaffirm what they've been told is true, or it's going to turn the light on to say, well, maybe 95% of them are just like they're telling me, but this one is different. And I don't care which way you vote the way you need to, and vote for the changes that you want to see. But at the same time, if you can just have if we all could have the other side, I believe, just accept our perspective and tolerate it, I think that side, the other side, would be as accepting and tolerable of that. And then we become a cohesive country again. And I think that's the Second Amendment isn't for Republicans.
It's for everyone.
The Second Amendment, the Second Amendment isn't for Democrats. It isn't for independents. It isn't for it. You're right.
It's for the Republic.
Yes.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. There's something else I want to mention about that. Just as a lot of people, they paint a narrative of us, how we are. And we, unfortunately, feel that narrative. Like, we are the gun owners. We're going to act a certain way, blah, blah, blah. We also do it to the other side. If you have a certain color hair and you do this, then you are that liberal, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, there was a lady, a waitress. She was very nice, and at the restaurant.
I remember this.
And she asked us a question. She's like, I'm just asking a question. She's like, do you think everyone should own a semi-automatic rifle? And now, she's not super educated on guns. She's going off what she's learned, but she didn't mean in a disrespectful way. She asked us a legit question.
She asked it politely.
And very politely. And Mike, you gave a really great answer back, and we don't have to go into the details of it. But at the end of the day, we had a really nice conversation. She still thinks that AR should be allowed, but she calls them a weapon of war.
She owns guns. She is a gun advocate, but she doesn't think that guns like AR style, semi-automatic rifle. She did not even say assault rifle.
No.
She said
semi-automatic.
Semi-automatic rifles that are weapons of war. I didn't want to go down the weapons of war full auto.
If it's not your hobby, you don't know all the nomenclature. And
I mentioned it briefly and said there is a difference, but I'll never change that. But it was like, okay, I respect your opinion, but at the end of it, I was most gracious, and I thanked her for her comment. I thanked her for her disagreement, and I thanked her for speaking to me on a level that was, or not me, speaking to us.
All of us,
Speaking to us with a level of respect to take our side. We treated her equally with respect. She still refilled our drinks when we needed them. She did,
yeah. And we still tipped her because we
still tipped her very well and we thanked her, and then she gave us recommendations for dinner. That's, if this country could get back to that.
Exactly. Here's what I only hope I pray happened there. She said she asked a lot of people that question. This hotel probably had a lot of people at GOA there eating. So she probably asked, it's safe to say, at least 30 people, if not more, in a span of 2 days. I'm hoping that the response that she got 95% of the time was somewhat equal or equivalent to what we did. I hope so. I can't. That would be my prayer.
So I want you to say something on this, because I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say a statement. I want you to expound.
Okay.
We sat in on a panel, and they said the panel, one of the biggest issues was that with the gun advocacy, we needed to be more vocal about advocacy. And when we be quiet, and when we're getting verbally attacked with, their nomenclature, instead of trying to argue back with them, whether it be peaceful or not, I'm going to be the bigger person and I'm going to leave. And they were saying, do not leave. You need to complete this. I'm going to put a caveat to that, because I agree with it, but I also disagree. How do you feel about that? Because I think you need to dust up on and brush up on your constitutional knowledge. Mm-hmm. You need to brush up on the rights in your state. Mm-hmm. And if you have not done that and you're going off of what someone else says, if Matt tells me what the laws are, I'm going to take it as a grain of salt, not because I don't believe him, but it's because, is he researching this, or is he going off of what he's told? I need to know exactly what that right means. And if you don't know, don't advocate it. Because if you're not spreading the truth, you're
working backwards.
Yeah, I'm not saying, I don't want to say you're hurting the cause, but you're putting the cause at a disadvantage.
And summarize that for me, Mike.
So how do you feel about that? If they wanted us to always not, that they didn't say, it's not like we're being trained here on what to do, but they said, hey, a big problem is when people walk away.
Okay.
How do you feel about educated versus not quite as educated when it comes to disagreements? Like, when should you engage? When should you walk away?
So I think it's important to admit when you don't know something. Be like, hey, I'm not real familiar with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with being ignorant about something and saying, hey, I don't know, or hey, I might not be the best resource for this, but from the little bit that I do know and understand, this is it. I think walking away, a lot of ignorance comes in those type of arguments from both sides. And so a lot of people, it's easier to walk away and instead of getting fired up, because sometimes your first response is to try and couldn't be very defensive. And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of
Everybody
it.
Like,
you want to walk up to me and spit some nonsense about gun grabbing, like, I'm liable to get fired up.
Or if they don't know Latin. Yeah.
So yeah, my Achilles heel is I match energies. It is a blessing and a curse. If you're hype, I'm hype beside you. If you come at me and I sense aggression, I don't even know what we're aggressive about, but I'm about to get there with you. Right, wrong, indifferent, judge me, whatever.
Yep.
I'm
totally guilty.
I'm an energy matcher. So I completely understand that. Adam?
So I'm like, if things get like argumentative or aggressive, typically I'm the one that just walks away from it. I'm not saying it's right.
You like to gather your thoughts.
I gather my thoughts. I don't like to just fire back. And it's only because sometimes I'll get too passionate. I'm afraid of like, is this becoming a full blown argument? I don't want to do that. And I want to make sure I'm educated when I'm saying, I don't want to just say things out of anger, because ask lots of people in my real life. I've been very angry and said things that I probably don't mean, and I hate that. I don't want to be wrong out of anger.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me. It does. So let's segue back to the panels, seeing those panels, sitting in and listening to them. They had panels for everything.
Yeah.
It was something I had never experienced. And I think that they hit the nail on the head when they gave those panels, because you gave something for everybody. Some people could say, I went to these panels and these open mics and these symposiums, and the gun convention was a close second to why I went. But then the gun convention guys go and they're like, oh, while I'm here, I'm going to pop into a panel. So I don't want to name the other shows, what you've heard, what you've seen, all of that stuff. But let's highlight some really good things. I mean, out of all of it, we got more to talk about, but just right now, let's just kind of make it easy. What was your single favorite part of the summit? Not an event or a booth or a person. Like, what about the event surprised you the most, I guess, or was your favorite?
Honestly, my favorite part was just seeing the community that large all in one place. So many people who are passionate about the Second Amendment, all gathered there for the same mission. Like, I've been to a couple of small conventions, a couple of small summits to do with the 2A, a couple of shooting events, a couple of small like shooting competitions, but that is the most people personally for me that all together in one space working towards the same goal. And it was rad.
No pun intended with goal.
Yeah, no pun. I intended that pun, actually.
Nice.
Good one. What about you?
So here's what I like. I've not been to a SHOT Show yet, but I know a SHOT Show, that's the Super Bowl of what we do, convention shows. That's where all your star players, meaning your CEOs, all those bigwig people, executive people from these companies are there. This is show first year, and walking around the booth and like seeing the owners, the CEOs, like being able to talk to them. We talked to a bunch of the owners and CEOs of companies, and these are major companies there, and they were there for it. So they saw the importance of it. You're the boss and you're coming off of this first year of GOA. So there was some importance to know, like, this is something that's going to take off and be bigger than this year. And I appreciated that because I had no clue that we were going to meet some of the people we met there from these major companies.
Absolutely. And I want to, second that and say that, I don't know who all understands what goes into putting a show together. I, for one, know a little bit, but not a whole lot. And so, when you kind of look at this, what they were able to put together, and I know people are going to jump for GOA as they should, but this was a first year show and the results were just, crazy.
I would have never known if I didn't know. It seemed like a really well-planned event from beginning to end, all the way through. And it was, I'll just keep saying it. Like, it was freaking rad. I had a good time. Had a good time.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the fun stuff that happened, though.
Oh, gosh.
Mike, you're a great storyteller.
Oh, no. What are we talking about?
Mr. Pratt.
Oh,
how do we meet him? And this is a great story.
Legend?
Matt, this was awesome, was it not?
Very, dude.
Yeah.
This is freaking great.
Yeah. So we decided we want to go to panels.
We
decided we wanted to go watch a panel. Okay. So here's a tip, an area for improvement for GOA. More signage.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit better signage.
For idiots like myself. As I went up the ramped walkway, I was like, are we going the right way? I don't know. There was just food and vendors up here. And I was like, all right, cool. But there was no sign that said ballroom. So I was like,
just a bunch of doors.
Yeah. And I was like, I think we're going the right way. Yeah. So as we're walking through, I see this door open up. And as I peer through, we see the homie. It's Clint Morgan. It's like, oh, heck, let's go in there. We'll ask him, are we going the right way?
Yeah.
So, of course, we walk in and we're greeted by a nice lady from GOA who tells us, why are you in here? What are you doing? And so immediately, we know we're not supposed to be here.
Yeah. She kind of looked at us like,
who are you?
Well, because we don't have the all packs. We had the green badge, not the all pass badge. So she looked at our badge like.
So I said, oh, yeah. Clint wanted to talk to me real quick. I'm just going to say what's up to him and I'll be right out of their hair. And she was like, okay, cool. And she kind of stood there and was watching us. And I knew we were about to get the boot. And as I'm walking towards Clint, I hear this guy, hey guys, how's it going? How's it going? Thank you so much for being here. And we turn around and I'm like, dude, that's Eric Pratt.
Mr. Pratt.
Eric Pratt.
Like, we've had conversations on social media. We've included him in stuff. We support everything that GOA does, and they've been equally supportive to us.
Absolutely.
But, our whole goal one of our goals was, hey, we actually want to meet everybody we can from GOA, personally thank them for what they've done for us, and also ask them how we can help them.
Yeah.
And, meeting people that you're hoping to meet, it never goes down like you think. But it went down. And as soon as he came up and, started talking to us, the lady who was about to kick us out immediately just kind of, she faded off into the distance like, okay, they're good people. I have no clue who they are, as she should.
Right.
And it's like,
she was doing her job.
Yeah. So we just start talking and, thank him, have our little conversation, share some private words of encouragement. And when it was all said and done, we were like, man, we're sorry we crashed your party. We're going to get out of here. And he was like, well, hold on. Before you guys leave, I want a picture with you guys.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know who we are, right?
I think that was one of the more humbling experiences of all of GOA for me was when Eric Pratt was like, Whiskey and Windage, I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to meet you guys.
Yeah. It was so cool.
Yeah. And I think that's a testament to his character, because anybody who's trying to support the initiative that they're putting forward, he's going to try his best to remember everybody. It's almost like, I don't want to go to school, like take it like school, but take it back to like your elementary school days. Like, yeah, the teacher's supposed to know your name, but the principal's taking the time to learn your name.
Yeah.
Or, when you have a bigger store, a bigger retail store, and you have like a district manager, but the district manager's, remembering the cashier's names and things. Like, I think that's a really nice touch, and it's a sign of a good leader.
Yeah.
And we're not employees. We're not paid by them. We're not sponsored by them. Nothing yet. But, for him to realize like, hey, these guys are taking the time. They're pushing our stuff. They want us to succeed. To say that, it was like, you got to be kidding me, man.
It was super cool. Like, it was
he has the biggest influencers in the industry there, some of the biggest companies in the industry there, and he knew our names and who we were because he had taken the time
he'd done his research
to remember. Yeah. And that was
it was humbling. I mean, not only that, just there were certain people that we didn't know knew who our podcast was, and to say, hey, I've listened to it, or I know who you are. It was very like, whoa, like, our little podcast.
So now let's go to a funny one. For those of you who know my affection with Marty Daniel, Daniel Defense was there.
They were,
and we have our targets. We're gonna pitch these things, and very similar to gun advocacy. We are very much podcast advocates. So, we have these talks, and it's like, yeah, if Daniel Defense wants to come on our podcast, we will be more than happy. I may not have a lot of questions for him, boys. You may have to do this, but we're equal opportunity. I will not make it. None of us would ever make it a terrible podcast.
No,
but I wish everybody could be friends. I wish everybody could. And I'm not saying I'm not friends with them. I'm not. The rifles that they make are phenomenal, and the people that work there are phenomenal. But some of the things that they're just tough to let go of.
Yeah, you're just not a fanboy, and that's okay.
They're just tough to let go of. But we all go in that trailer, and they have this big trailer. It's a walk-through display, all their guns on the wall. Super nice,
really nice. Yeah, really nice.
So we go in there, and you guys go make your pitch. And I kind of walked around, was like, I'm not even going to be involved in it. I'm going to let this be their thing. So why don't you talk about that?
That was interesting. So the two guys, they were very nice, very friendly. We kind of just talked like, hey, we want to get you on the podcast. This is what we do. We give them, we have a little cool brochure we give them, kind of show who we are, what we're about. And am I telling this story? Okay. So they're like,
I'm reliving it. I'm sorry.
yeah. So they were like, well, you know about the stuff that happened. Like, yes, sir. Of course, about the stuff that happened, but I don't care about that stuff. I don't want you to come on and talk about that stuff. I want to know who I need to talk to get Daniel Defense on about your rifles, about what you're doing rifle wise, gun wise.
And they kept referring back to it. You know the story that happened. You know
100%.
what happened a while back.
That's okay.
Remember, right?
I'm not worried about your leadership or your new leadership or your old leadership. I'm worried about what rifles are you making? What guns are you doing? How are you making? Like, what barrels are you using now? Like, those are the things I'm curious about because, like you said, Daniel Defense makes a good rifle. I use Daniel Defense parts. I have their buttstocks. I have some of their bolt carrier groups. I like Daniel Defense, their parts. So that's what I'm concerned about as a firearms 2A podcast. Yes, we're 2A, but I wanted to nerd out into the gun. That's what I want to talk to them about. And we finally got that point across, but it was kind of like this stalemate at first.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if it'll come to fruition. It was just a funny story to like, we're going to make the pitch. And I'm kind of eavesdropping, but I'm not in the thing. And I hear you guys and I hear Matt giggle and I'm like, I heard the guy like, yeah, I mean, you know about our past, right? And I'm like, oh geez. Yeah. Even they're not dodging it, which is great. I guess for damage control, if I was PR there, no, I wouldn't dodge it either. I would say we have to own this because if we sweep it under the rug there or try to put it in the closet, people are going to say you guys are trying to hide this.
Right.
You need to stand, face it,
right,
acknowledge it, and persevere through it.
Because there's other companies that their CEOs, leaders have said things, right, and they ignore it. And we're not going to. I won't even give them justification on this podcast to say their name. But it's ignored. You know, in fact, if you acknowledge a mistake, because we're all humans, we all make mistakes, just acknowledge it. Acknowledge that this thing happened. You took a corrective action, which they did. That company took a corrective action, and they're moving on. And that's cool. And that's why we want to have them on. So there's still an open invite. Daniel Defense is more than welcome to come on the podcast. I hope they do.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, anybody that comes on our podcast, for those that don't know, we're never here to mince words. We're never here to manipulate your words or chop and edit this thing in a way to make you say things that you really didn't say. If you want to go down those roads and you want to throw those stones in this glass house, like, hey, throw them. Like, I might throw one or two with you if I'm willing to have some glass broke. But if you don't and you want to just all get along, we're not here to encourage. No. We're not, the infighting. This is when you're a guest on this, your time slot is for what you want to talk about. And if you're a silencer shop or a silencer company, don't want to say silencer shop. If you're a silencer company, but all you want to talk about is the shortage of 7.62 because of the war, like if that's all you want to talk about, like we're going to be throwing a curve, but like this is your time slot. Feel free to talk about that. Like,
and that's interesting because there was a question asked to us by someone. And I'm not gonna put them on the spot, but we talked about how we try to be apolitical. Like we don't try, but our guests can say what they want. And we did talk to someone about, hey, we're an apolitical, we don't get into politics. And his response was, well, how can you talk about guns without talking about politics? I'm like, well, no, we don't talk about it. You are allowed to talk about it. This is the platform we're allowing you to have to talk how you want. We're asking questions. So that was interesting. But go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, I think that the Daniel Defense interaction, like it has a moral to that story. Like it was kind of a funny interaction, and the guy seemed a little caught off guard that we would want to have a podcast.
Probably a little apprehensive.
A little apprehensive that we would want to have a podcast. But that means that they've been stung or they've been bit before.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Right? And so it comes back to the message that GOA was trying to give all of us, and that it's our responsibility to help everyone and to help and not tear each other down in this industry. Like it's not my job to be like, oh, what they did was wrong. Let's twist all this and push all this out to prove how wrong that they are. That's definitely not what our podcast is about. And it's not a good part of 2A media to be doing.
We got checked. We got checked Friday night. When we were after hours, we had went to a bar. Matt and I were sitting down with a guy, and he's a holster maker, and he's got a company. and we're sitting there talking, and I don't want to name names because the names aren't important. What's important is that we got checked.
Yep.
And we're sitting there, and he just kind of sits there, and he's like, well, you know, you guys pretty much shit on me.
Yeah, and I met you at another event. I'm like, what?
And I was like, wait a minute. I'm sitting up here at a rooftop bar, sitting at a sectional couch, just me, Matt, and this guy. And
having
we're
a
having
cigar and a drink with the guy.
You were
having a really good
I was busy.
night. I thought we were having a really good night. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, you were at an event and you never came by my booth and talked to me. And I made it a point to greet you guys. And I know what event he's talking about, and I'll call it for what it was. It was in Waxahachie. It was Pew Party.
Yep.
And I said, hey, I did say hello to you. He said, yeah, but you guys kind of snubbed me. You wouldn't talk that much to me. And it all clicked. And we have another friend who is another holster maker. And we were trying to be loyal to him and show him our loyalty. Be like, hey, man, we're not going to upset you by going and talking to these guys and being friends with a lot of people. We're not intentionally snubbing. We're just choosing to, navigate on our own path. And he checked me on it. And then he said, and you snubbed me at another show, which we quickly dispelled that we did not snub him. And then he said, y'all haven't talked to us today. And I said, well, that's bullshit, because we came by your booth, we talked to you, and we even mentioned this was the spot we were going to tonight. And then he quickly apologized, but it clicked with me and it stuck with me that, even if I'm friends with a guy at a holster company, or even if I'm a friend at a rifle manufacturer or a plate carrier or an optic or whatever it is, it's important to tell those friends, hey, I'm going to be friends. And I think it's something that most in this industry know, but we want to tell our story because this is our journey through this starting this year in January. We're new to all of this. So we're writing the roadmap in real time. And I thought it was really interesting. It was a learning experience for me to say, damn, I didn't even know I was, setting fire to the bridge to burn it.
Yeah.
And he thought we were. And so it quickly got dispelled. And then I made it a damn point every time we walked through there and we saw him to make sure to wave at him, stop by, tell him we come back and see him, because, this realm is for everyone. Even if I carry another one, and I've never carried one of these guys' holsters, for the record, I've never done that. They look really nice. They look really durable. I don't see any issues with them, but full honesty, I was supporting my buddy, supporting one of my homies. And, I didn't know that would negatively affect someone else's, emotions. And so for that, like, we got checked and, we apologized.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder too, that it's like, just because I don't use your product or I use one of your competitors' products doesn't mean that I shouldn't come by and hype you up and shake your hand and encourage you to continue to do good, just because what you make is in competition with my buddy's business. Like, we all have to put that positive energy out for everybody in the space.
Well, what I noticed is these content creators, whiskey and windage is only whiskey and windage. We've never been, vodka and windage, or we've never been
whisker and windage.
We've never been anything else. But a lot of these industry guys are lifers. They may have worked at SIG for a while and then left and moved to, Glock, and then left and moved to Century or PSA, whatever it may be. So what I noticed is that when the consumers aren't there and they're not on the floor, everybody's at each other's booths. Everybody's talking about each other's products, giving honest feedback. Like, I heard, we'll never name names, we'll never name products, but we've heard people say, yeah, this one's the new thing. Yeah, I mean, it's really not. What you've got is better. Yeah. We're just putting it, we have to get out here and we have to do this. Or, it's not really my cup of tea, but it's a hot item or whatever. So, like, you're getting the honest feedback from everyone else, but that stuff never leaves those tables. And so as creators, as media, as all of that, it's a nice reminder that all these other people are friends. And so we're lucky to be involved in those circles.
Blessed. Like we truly are. This event made me feel so lucky. Well, one, to be part of you guys, like not to make y'all cry or anything, but like I truly am. I feel very lucky.
Don't worry, I won't.
Good. Yes, right. Cold hearted. But I feel lucky to be part of Whiskey and Winter. I feel lucky to be part of this community. Going to GOA and having people say, "Hey, I've heard your podcast," or "I like your podcast," or coming up to me, I'm a fan. Like that's awesome. I feel like I'm nobody. I think the podcast is growing, but like I don't see it that way, right? So it's very humbling, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wish we had unlimited budget and unlimited funds. I mean, we're being asked to come to all these different things. We've been asked to go to, shows on the East Coast, shows on the West Coast, shows up north, get on bus tours, do all these different things. And it's like, man, just like the marketing budgets and the travel budgets of all these companies, we've got one too, except we're 1,000th of their size with 1,000th of their budget. So it's one of those things we really have to, we really got to pick and choose where we go, and we want to hit them all. And, if there's a way that can be done with a little help, we're always down. But right now, I mean, we have to pick and choose our battles, but I wish we could go to all of them.
I do.
We're getting there. I think.
We're getting there.
It's gonna be time.
So talk about, I guess we've walked through the show. We've seen everything, the creator side of it. We've seen the media side of it. We got to do all of that. Adam, do you have any more thoughts on that? Or do you want to lead into just keep talking about the Friday, or are we moving into Saturday?
Let's go into Saturday. I think Friday was amazing. Let's go into Saturday. Saturday was fun because general admission and having people come in that aren't just current content creators. They're just people that consume the content. I mean this in the most nice way. I don't mean it. Sometimes we hear consumer of media. It can be in the content creator. It's just a consumer is like a.
We're making the media and the content for somebody though.
Yeah, and we had the consumers come here and they're loving it. They're enthusiasts. They are true advocates. They are the true advocates. They're the ones out there buying their products. They're out there, exercising their Second Amendment, and being able to talk to those people was amazing.
Yeah, I thought so, Matt.
I cannot believe how many people, again, like Adam said, stopped us and said, "Hey, Whiskey and Wind It." And admittedly, a lot of them, I didn't know, right? Maybe they don't create a lot of content in the space, or maybe they just don't create a lot of content at all. And it was so humbling, and it was so cool to get to walk with all the people, and they're like, "Hey, Whiskey and Windage, we like you guys. Will you take a picture with me?" What? You want to take a picture with me? That was really freaking sweet. And the numbers blew my mind. Again, coming back to first year show, I don't have a whole lot of experience going to these larger firearms conventions, but there was nothing, to me anyway, that was an indicator of this was a first year show. It was sloppily planned. It wasn't. It was highly executed. And honestly, I think my favorite part about Goals 2024 is knowing that Goals 2025 is coming.
Yeah, I think with the amount of people, like I said earlier, I wasn't counting people at the door. I easily forget during media day that it's media. So walking through on Friday, it was, you'd go to a couple booths and there were 3 or 4 people there, mostly filming just their content or trying to wait for an interview or all that. And you're like, I got to wait about 6-7 minutes. That's cool. I'll go to this next booth and come back. I was, secretly hoping, please let this show be good, please. And, but you're always nervous. You're always worried, but it hit, and we went on Saturday, and it got to the point where my internal thoughts, I started getting pissed because it was getting crowded.
I don't do crowds real well.
Yeah. And I was like, God, I wish these people would walk. And it has nothing to do with age, or it has nothing, there's legit so many people in the aisles that I was getting frustrated, kind of like going home on rush hour traffic. Oh my God, if people would just go the same speed and keep walking. And if you're going to talk to people, get out of the middle or move over to the side and do this. But then it kind of made me happy because I was like, this is what GOA wants. This is what GOA needs.
Yeah.
So it was I'm frustrated, but I'm really actually happy.
But it's just because you're a grumpy old man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But Saturday was cool. It was fun. They also had, we ended up, there was a concert. Well, there's a comedy show on Friday.
Yeah. So before we go back, let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to Friday. God, we're terrible with this. So let's go back to Friday night and let's talk about the comedy show. Johnny B was out there with his spicy comedy. Never met Johnny B. Still haven't tried to get a chance. He's just so busy. I get it. But I'm unsure if this is the first time he's ever done this on a live stage like this. I think it is, but I don't want to assume. But all things being equal, he did a really good job. It seemed like a pretty good turnout, and lots of people had some good laughs. So that was Friday night. Now we go to Saturday, and there was supposed to be a concert in the same place, the Outdoor Amphitheater, World's Fair Park. They were worried about some rain.
Yeah.
They moved it inside to where the panels were. We can't even lie. All indications, the concert was great. We ended up hanging out at the cigar bar.
Yeah, our boy Brent Tucker.
Look,
chain smoking cigars with Brent.
Yeah,
Tucker.
so look, guys, Easton Corbin, cigars, food trucks, ice cream food trucks,
a little break from the crowd.
break from the crowds, and the sun went down, so it was tolerable outside. I mean, the
It
scales
was a
were
gorgeous evening.
slightly tipped for us, and that's not a knock against Easton Corbin. It was
Not at
just like, man, we're sitting here, and do we want to go in there? No, they won't let us have a cigar in there. We'll just sit out here. So we did, and we just talked to everybody that came in and out, and they said it was great.
Yeah.
So
just having a lot of options, though. Like, nothing is forced. You don't have to go to the panels. You don't have to go down to the convention floor. You don't have to go to the comedy show. You don't have to go to the concert. But all of the different things, like, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Definitely something for everybody.
So typically in our podcast, if you don't watch them, we ask all of our guests when we're wrapping this thing up to name their top 5 guns that they can't live without. I want to change this up a little bit, and we're going to change it to a top 6. And in that top 6, each of us get 2 answers and talk about, what do you want to talk about? Who were your top 2 favorite vendors?
I think vendors, people you met, it doesn't matter. It's your choice.
Or media or whoever.
Dealer's pick. Yeah. Dealer's choice.
Yeah. So whether it was a creator, whether it was a fan or a regular, I don't want to say a fan, a general admission ticket, a GOA member. That's the best thing because they are a member.
Every one of them. Every single one.
To include us.
A Saturday, Sunday attendee, a Friday attendee, or a vendor. Matt?
All right. That's a good question. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of really cool people, saw a lot of really cool products because I was also a consumer at the convention, not just a media person. I actually looked at all of the things on the floor. It's hard to take them seriously and quite understand the depth of the product on social media. But I really enjoyed Mantis booth. It was set up well. Every one of their reps was really well informed. I got a sneak peek at something that's coming down that I can't talk about, but it makes me really excited.
For sure.
And I really enjoyed the Mantis booth.
Okay, so
really cool piece of technology. So there's my one.
So hold that. So Adam, let's go ahead and get you to name one to give Matt time to think about another.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to being consumer and people that I'm a fan of because I do a lot of YouTube. Probably more YouTube than you guys do as far as
you almost said do
YouTube.
No, but you said I do.
I do. I do a lot of YouTube. I do a lot of YouTube. So a lot of YouTube. John Padden, Gun Collective. Big fan of him. I've been for a long time. I got to meet him, and he didn't disappoint. Friendly guy, just like super. Just hey, I would love to have you on the podcast. Which John, we don't have the podcast, but we talked about it, and it was a great conversation. Then later, he came back up to me and made a joke about my shoes because my shoes were really bright, like my personality. He did, but he's just a good guy. So for me, that was watching someone or being able to talk to someone that I watch a lot on YouTube. To me, that was really cool, and just he's he's just as nice as I thought he was going to be. So that was a good one for me.
So
How about you, Mike?
one of mine is a behind the scenes guy. Will over at Forge Relations.
Nice.
Because not a lot of people know, but they gave GOA a little assistance in this. And meeting him, we've got some other stuff in the works with these guys, but I'd never met him. I'd never spoke to Will. So having him and actually getting to meet him and the generosity, the openness, the I don't know, just the general feeling of treating you like a human being and wanting to make sure you're taken care of. Like, he did a really good job, and they helped GOA get that thing off without a hitch.
They help a lot of the big conventions, and a lot of people may not know about it. It's behind the scenes work. He doesn't, that group doesn't get all of the applause and all of the awards, and
You only know him if you know him.
you only know him if you know him. And yeah, that's a good one. That one's really cool.
That's really good.
I'm going to steal this low-hanging fruit because I really was taken aback. Eric Pratt. I'm taking it. That was one of my highlights. That was rad to me.
There's another one. You know what? It'll be a special mention at the end. And if you don't want to say it, I'm going to say it.
Well, that's my second one. So
Okay.
I'm good. It was really cool to meet Eric. So
Hell yeah.
That's my second choice.
That's a great choice. But there's going to be a special mention at the end then, because I have a special mention.
All right.
Okay.
And it has to do with you.
All right.
So what's your number two?
So honestly, once again, going back to being a consumer, someone I've watched for years, Tactical Rifleman, Carl.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm truly a fan of his. I've watched his lives for years. I've watched his content. He's someone I respect. Sergeant Major, Green Beret.
Yeah.
Much respect for him. So meeting him in person and once again, talking to him, he took his hat off, ripped the patch off his hat.
So I remember that.
And then he gave you guys one too.
Yeah, sitting right by the elevator. He's like,
Yeah.
Here, have this.
And it was just one of those things that he took 5 minutes out of his day. He was probably leaving for the day done. He stopped. He didn't seem annoyed. He was and talked to us for 5 minutes. And I really appreciate that. So that was another shout out to me. Once again, open invitation, Carl. Come on the show.
Please.
But that was my second one for sure.
Awesome. Good choice.
Another one that I guess I would say, I'm torn. I can't pick two. This is going to be a wild one, but man, it's Mike Pappas.
So that goes into my special mention. So you need the caveat with my special mention then.
Okay. So, for those that know him, he's one of the guys at Dead Air. And when I say one of the guys, I know what he does there.
He's the guy.
But taking the time to talk to us, going in there and being 100%. Now, full disclosure, talking to him on trying to get him on the podcast was very, very easy. The whole team, super easy.
Whole team.
But we got to catch him outside, just hanging out and shooting the breeze. He was out there and we were like, hey, what's up, dude? And he came over, and the very transparent nature at which he operates. Lots of people have their own ideas of polarizing people in this industry. I'm one of them that has that idea, and it's changed a little bit, but man, very, very, very transparent, very open, very willing to talk to you, very willing to admit and almost identify the elephants in the room when it comes to, oh, well, this person will say this about me, or, oh, this person will say this about the company, or this person. But you know what? Here's how I operate, and here's what I do, and here's why I do it. And if you want to buy my product, buy it. If you don't, don't. But, I'm not going to get into all of the other stuff. And it's like, man, it's just so damn refreshing.
Yeah.
Good talk, honestly.
I was going to say the biggest thing that stuck out to me is, again, we are certified
D-list.
Yeah, we're certified D-list.
D-list,
We own it. We don't think we're big at anything. But
in fact, we know we're not.
it's the first step in admission.
Thanks.
But when Gucci Matt shows up to the booth with I'm wearing a backpack, Adam's wearing a backpack, Matt decides to carry his Louis purse.
He was obsessed with my Louis purse.
I mean, it's a Louis bag. Let's call for it. It's a Louis bag.
It's the 24-hour bag.
Yeah.
It's
But he likes, he likes his fashion. He likes to do his thing. We don't judge him too much, whatever. But he showed up, and of course, they got a big kick out of that. And the very next day, or no, that same day, we were outside, and he walked up and was like, "Well, where's your bag?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll put it in the room." And he's like, "Well, what bag were you carrying today?" So he said that, and it's like, damn, you remembered. Whatever. That was on Friday. Saturday, what bag are you carrying today? Same thing. This morning, when we left, we made our rounds to say goodbye to everybody at the booth that treated us with hospitality, which is just about everybody.
everybody.
Still, hey man, what kind of bag you carrying today? And it's like he remembered, and
He remembered who I was and that I had some sort of luxury item on that day.
which is a sign of a good salesman. You got to know who these people are, and you got to remember them. You got to remember faces or a name or something. But it was just really cool in that sea of all those people. He still remembered you, and that was just neat.
He told me I better have something pretty fancy next time we meet.
He sure did. He challenged you.
Yeah. So what's your honorable mention?
That was the honorable mention.
Oh,
That's why it's a caveat.
So then I have an honorable mention then.
Okay.
Okay, take it.
Because I said I wasn't sure who, and you had the most interaction with him, Matt. But man, the guys over at Canic Century Arms,
Adam.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good one. Big shout out to Adam Renola over at Century Arms in Canic. Funny thing is, actually met him in the bar, dude. You can't miss him.
You can't miss him.
No. And that was the icebreaker, because I mean, in a room of 20,000 people, I'm not the biggest guy in the room.
Darn near, though.
But sometimes in a room of 100 people, I'm the biggest guy in the room. Like, quite often in a lot of rooms, I'm the biggest guy in the room. And he's well dressed. I mean, quite a bit taller than me too. And so like I seen him at the bar, and the only space was right next to him. And I'm like, dang, brother. I'm like, usually I'm the biggest guy in the room. He turns around and looks at me with a big smile and sticks his hand out and says, "You are still the biggest guy in the room."
You still are, buddy.
He's such a nice guy. Well, I mean, I saw him. He towered over you, and I bumped into him.
He's got to be 6'8".
Oh yeah, he's huge. And I bumped into him. When I bumped into him, my head hit his knee, and it was really awkward.
But yeah, really freaking cool guy. Stuck his card in my hand. Was like, "Hey, what do you guys do?" Like, was really interested. Was like, "I want you to come by the booth.
Yeah.
Make sure you talk to me. I'd love to come on your show." He also worked for Palmetto for a long time. And
that kind of was what I was saying earlier about all these guys that they all stay in the industry.
And I wanted to mention him then, and we kind of moved on. But I told him, I'm like, yeah, the guys over at Palmetto were great. And he's like, good. I'm so glad to hear that, because I would make sure that somebody over there would talk to you as well. Because what you're trying to do, what you guys are doing is important. I think it's important. I know everybody over there. We still have a great relationship. And as someone, I mean, who kind of understood the dynamic only after he explained it, like I seen during the day, the Palmetto guys and the Century guys kind of meeting center field, and they're talking. They're in direct competition. Century imports AKs. They build AKs in-house. Palmetto's building a lot of AKs. But at the end of the day, we're all just gun people. Yeah. Regardless of who we work for. Yeah. Our hobby's all the same, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Adam was really cool guy. Very welcoming. Made us feel real special.
Yeah. I mean,
heart of gold.
So this is just a rapid fire before we hang everything up. I'm just going to say some special shout outs, and you guys keep going for those who I miss.
Okay.
So definitely want to shout out Raul, Velocity Triggers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great guy.
Need to shout him out. Need to shout out the group over at KSG. Suppressors.
Yes.
Yep.
Big shout out. Katie over there. She was awesome.
Yeah. Huge shout out to the boys at Shadow Systems.
Yep.
Henry.
Oh, Henry was phenomenal.
Oh, Henry's a candy bar.
Oh, Henry.
Yeah. Henry is a rifle. Oh, Henry is a candy bar.
Henry was
Fat guys know this. I'm just telling you.
Yes.
The fat guys will know.
Yeah, the fat guys will know that. Of course, PSA, we said that. FRCC, Mantis, Dead Air.
2A Bourbon.
2A Bourbon.
2A Bourbon.
Gentlemen, they were such good guys.
2A Bourbon, great. You know, I'm trying to think. There's so many freaking people that it's just like, man, I know I'm going to forget people. I can't pronounce the name of the 1911
cool.
company.
Shadow Systems.
It said Shadow.
Shadow Systems.
Oh, we did.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but everybody there was great. And
PSA, I mean, we just said PSA, but honestly, being probably one of, I mean, if we're talking about dollars, probably the biggest company minus Brownell sponsoring it, like big company there. Their people came up to us, their sales, the reps, they came up, talked to us, super friendly. And that meant a lot.
You need to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Went and got him, tracked him down.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you know what I do want to say is we want to thank
Everybody.
GOA and everyone who made this possible. From the people at the Marriott to the people at the range. I heard it was up there with the boys in the Smokies. Shout out for that.
John worked his butt off there.
Yes, John Farner worked his butt off. Clint Morgan
Worked his butt off.
Clint Morgan, I saw him in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt on Thursday. And the rest of the time, I mean, it was suited and booted. He treated it like a job. He didn't have time, didn't want to risk going out.
No, he wouldn't. He refused. Yeah.
I got a lot of work.
I got a lot of work to do. I can't. He might have shown his face at the concert, but just probably for a second because he had to prep for the next day.
Yeah.
Like he took this thing serious. So hats off to him. Hats off to Eric. Hats off to all of the individual state ran GOAs. Met a lot of those. Those were great. You know, it was well put together. And, I don't know. The only other thing we could say is, you know, if you're looking to get into things and you want to help, you want to get involved, you don't know how, you're not sure what to do, man, just get online. Uncle Google, man. Just go to Uncle Google, get on there. Just look up gunowners.org and it's going to take you to the webpage. To get into this show was free if you were a GOA member, and that membership was at $25.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're not paid by them. We're not told to say this. We're not any of that. I mean, but $25, you know, can go a long way. And, you know, to fight a criminal case, $25 isn't anything.
Nope.
They need a lot of those $25 donations or more if that's what you can do. But at the minimum, yeah. I mean, is there anything in closing you guys want to say?
No, I think we hit it all. I just want to say, guys, we appreciate everyone listening. Make sure you are subscribed, notification bells, leave a comment. If you went to GOA, leave us a comment and tell us your experience about GOA. The good, the bad, the ugly. Whatever your comment, let us know.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, obviously, again, I was totally blown away at how many people at GOA knew who we were. Like, I'm not the biggest guy remembering everybody's name who works for the organization, you know, and more of them walked up to us and like, hey, you're these guys. So if you have something to say, as long as you can mind your manners and have actual constructive feedback, leave it down below. A lot of those people, I mean, I'm going to send it to them directly. I assure you, some of the folks at GOA are going to hear this podcast, read these comments. So drop it down below. I'm freaking stoked for Goals 2025, boys. I'm ready to go already.
Man, well, I got nothing else, Adam.
All right, guys. Well, like we always say, stay dangerous, carry a weapon, and we'll talk to you soon.